Good day, everybody. I'm Leslie Borey for Brantford News. Today is July 7th, 2021. I'm in front of the Toronto Intermittent Center on Horner Ave, and I'm reporting on a demonstration protesting against the incarceration of Dr. James Sears for satire. Dr. James Sears was a publisher of Your Ward News, and LeRoy St.Germaine was the owner of Your Ward News, and they're both currently serving sentences for what's been wrongfully called hate speech. These guys had a newspaper where they satirized some local politicians and some national politicians. And they also showed people that there was a link between communism and Judaism, since the origins of communism are, in fact, Judaism, as well as Marxism. And they got in a little bit of trouble for that because of the Jewish supremacist groups, the terror groups. They lobbied and successfully had them charged and convicted. And the reason James is in here presently is because he lost his appeal to appeal this case, and right now he's waiting to see if his appeal of the appeal will be heard. All right, folks, so let's take a look at this demonstration here. Got just over a half a dozen people out, and they've got signs, information signs, some flags, and here's Mr. Paul Fromm, the director for the Canadian Association for Free Expression. Hi, Paul, how are you?
Hi, Les. Good to see you here.
So, did you organize this event, Paul, or just a bunch of people decided to come together today?
Yeah, we organized this, and we want to show some support for Dr. Sears. He's now been in almost a month. He's waiting to get leave to appeal his conviction and sentence. The judge seems to be dragging his feet, so he wants to get leave to appeal, and then if he's granted leave, then he will be out on bail pending the appeal. But he's been in here a month. We understand he's in something like solitary confinement. He's almost incommunicado. He's only been able to make, I believe, 4 calls since he got in here. They're all been very short. I know other prisoners in other institutions, and they call me up and we can chat for 20 minutes or so. This is a real black mark on Canada. Here we have an editor of a paper in jail for no other reason than the non-violent expression of his political views. And Dr. Sears and his publisher LeRoy St.Germaine were convicted under Canada's notorious hate law, Section 319 of the Criminal Code. And the conviction was for willfully spreading hate against Jews and women. The paper was satirical. It wasn't it wasn't a treatise or anything. It was wild, free-spirited, lots of great cartooning, pretty much like the National Lampoon. And so the conviction was a bogus conviction, and it needs to be appealed. But the Amnesty International adopts a lot of the people they call prisoners of conscience or political prisoners, and Dr. Sears fits that definition exactly. Amnesty says a political prisoner is somebody who's in jail solely for the non-violent expression of their political, social, or religious views. And that's Dr. Sears. He's in prison because his satire annoyed certain people, and the process that he was being through is a joke. It should never happen in Canada, and so when Canada criticizes foreign countries for political prisoners and so on, I hope their ambassadors turn right around and say, well, what about you? You're putting the editor of a satirical publication in prison. This is wrong, and that's what we're out here for.
Well, that's good, Paul. I'm sure James appreciates all of us coming out here today to show our support and also to tell people about what happened to him. I believe that a lot of people do not know what happened to Mr. Sears, and I don't think they'd approve very much of these minority groups expressing their privilege.
No, you're right. If it hadn't been for the endless pressure of groups like the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs and their allies like Bernie Favre, who used to head the Canadian Jewish Congress, he's the head of the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, and Richard Warman, who's worked very closely with the Jewish lobby over the years, he would never have been prosecuted. They took an awful lot of agitation. They took away his mailing rights in 2019, and that was all because of similar agitation from these people. They just don't respect free speech, and it's a real blight. I would say, a lot of people may hear this and say, well, yeah, but what can I do? Well, there's something you can do. Send him a card, and the address is Dr. James Sears, S-E-A-R-S, political prisoner. Say that, political prisoner. Toronto South Detention Center, 160 Horner Avenue, Toronto, Ontario, and look up the postal code. I don't have it.
If you go onto the cafe website, the story in early July will tell you what the address is.
Yes. The postal code, and you may say, well, what good does it do? I don't even know them. It does some good. First of all, it's very encouraging if you're in jail to know that somebody on the outside cares. Secondly, it sends a message to the authorities. They see the mail coming in, and they recognize that he's not alone. That's important.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Right now would be the time where strangers would have a great effect on his morale, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
Imagine hearing from someone you don't even know, and they're saying that they're with you, and that would bring up the spirits quite a bit, I would imagine.
I've known political prisoners in Germany, like a Canadian,
Alfred Schaefer, maybe.
Monica Schaefer, Alfred Schaefer. They get letters from people they've never even heard of, who've heard about them, and it, as you say, it means so much. It means so much to be encouraged like that.
Nobody's parked here, eh?
Pardon?
No one's parked.
Imagine that. These people telling you can't park. Don't talk about a police state. You should be ashamed to work for these people.
That's it.
Since it happened.
That's it. We'll let it ride. We'll let it ride. People need to hear it. All right, folks. That's what we've got here today. So hopefully the judge approves Mr. Sears' appeal and lets him out. He shouldn't be in a place like this. All right, folks. He didn't do anyone any harm. And if you believe the complainants, they think that Canadians are going to genocide them if someone doesn't agree with them 100% of the time. All right, guys? We should be able to criticize people from different religions if we want to in Canada. It's the Western way. All right, guys? It's part of our Western values to be able to speak our minds and to share ideas with each other. And some people just have some funny ideas, folks, and right now they're the ones that are making the laws. So they're in charge right now, folks. We'll see what we can do about that. All right, everyone. Have a good day. This is Leslie Borey. Good night.